How you doing, everybody? Just picked up this used Harmon Mark II coal stove, wood stove. Well, it's a coal stove. And there's my coal fire. Open up the door here. It's definitely time for a fill. I'm learning quick with this, what needs to be done for it to run and what shouldn't be done. I started the fire with wood. I burned a couple logs with the knob, this knob out like at least 5 or 6 turns. Gave it a lot of draft, and when you close the door, it kind of damps the wood fire pretty well. Actually, I considered leaving the door open a crack, but that's a little risky, so I didn't. But I burned wood for a couple hours, and I already had bagged coal, and it's just too tempting, so I put some charcoal briquettes over the bed, got them started, and then started feeding coal. And it's my first front load stove. My last one was a Godin. You just poured the coal in the top of the stove, and then when the gases would ignite, it would explode. So I'd have to leave the lid to the stove open a little bit until the flames came out. But anyway, this is a little different. I'm shoveling the coal in, and the coal actually has to go if you want the stove to burn, the coal has to go to the top of those fire bricks. I don't want to touch that glass, but you see where those 2 squares are right there? The coal bed should be to the top of the fire bricks. When you say, okay, well, you know, it's going to spill out of the stove, you actually have to slope it down towards the window. And a lot of people burn these with the knob. The Mark IIs, they burn it with the knob, maybe only one turn out. Mine's taking a little bit more. I got a radon pump right there. My house seems to be sealed very well. But I am getting enough draft. It's just a matter of maybe keeping the draft going. But yeah, you're gonna burn maybe 1 turn out, between 1 and 1.5. I'm finding that it's not really hurting me to leave mine at 2, but it's still new. I'm not going to commit to keeping this coal fire going all winter. And if you've ever burned coal, you know that starting and stopping a coal fire is really not that pretty of a thing. It's not like wood where you just sweep the ashes aside, you end up with all cinders. So basically, I got my stove going at 450 right now. That thermometer there in the corner says it's reading about 450. The stack is reading about 300, which really, I've heard that the stove should read 300 and the stack should read lower, but I'm not having any problems and I'm getting good heat. It's an unheated basement, and temperature right now is 69 degrees. But yeah, I'm just burning the stove out basically now. Hopefully get as much of that coal, turn it into fine dust. And let me give you a shot of the ash pan there. And got a little bit too much play in this shaker as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't know if that part's going to break, but I know something's worn out. And I know that they do wear out. But yeah, you can see when you shake, you can see the fire buckle a little bit. And actually, there is with these stoves in particular, there is a risk of dumping the fire. So when you're moving this shaker handle right here, you don't want to go too far, because there's only 2 grates in there that run from left to right, and they have fingers on them, and you could dump the fire, I suppose. I like the blower. It just slides right onto the back of the stove. It blows air up the back of the stove where there's 2 sheets of metal, and over the top of the stove where there's 2 sheets of metal, and sides in the front only 1 sheet. So that's where getting the real heat. I'll tell you, man, like there's one vent. It's only about 2 inches wide. There's one vent. I'm holding my hand about 7 inches away, and I'll tell you what, you can't hold it there for very long. It's seems like it's a good stove so far. So thanks for watching.